What's going to happen with XRP has been confirmed by the Fed. Now you just need to wait. Exactly what this is in a very modern video. Press the like button so everyone can see it. And to start, I'm going to use a recent clip from Jerome Powell called Gambling, which I guess is pretty important. After that, we'll talk about a lot of other interesting things related to the Fed, crypto, Congress, and a lot more. First, let's play this clip. If you want to know what crypto is all about, you should look at the banks. We think that's what you intend. Banks can serve crypto customers just fine as long as they understand and can manage the risks. And it's safe to do that because many of the banks that we control and oversee do it. For banks that are involved, the bar has been a little higher. You move. So this is something that Jerome Powell is looking for right now. He's talking to me about cryptocurrency. That's really cool. This would not have happened 4 years ago. The Fed could never talk about cryptocurrency, but now they may be really thinking about this a lot more seriously, of course. There is a lot of talk about the Federal Reserve having more Bitcoin on their books. The strategic reserve for the Treasury is the same way. These are the kinds of talks that more and more people are starting to have, and Donald Trump really wants to join them. Now, one thing I do want to say that I found very interesting is that Jerome Powell totally missed what Donald Trump said. Right now, I'm going to go into a little more detail about what I think this means and what will happen from here on out from the Fed, which I think could be great for all you men, anyone who has any kind of cryptocurrency, especially XRP. But first, we're going to talk about two bigger things. First, President Trump's freezing quote, "If the Fed had spent a lot less time on DEI, gender ideology, inexperienced strength, and fake weather change, inflation might not have been a problem at all." And Trump is basically pointing the finger at the right problem, which I think makes it hard for many people to make good decisions in politics these days. Every few years, the government will announce some kind of big outbreak or big problem that will cost a lot of money to fix. The problem is that the government never just fixes things. Many fake reports are put out by them to make it look like they are dealing with the issue, but there are actually other people in the world who are making it much worse than it already is. And they don't seem to care about any of those numbers. I think one of them is the weather swap. I remember that when I was younger, global warming was something that a lot of people talked about. Every single teacher in the school system. But in the end, people found out that there isn't just global warming. There are no people in the field, so the temperatures are not rising. That's why they had to change the name from global warming to weather trade. And Donald Trump is saying a lot of the same things, which I was told I agree with. I do think that we need more green power and need to find long-landing power sources. I think this is without a doubt a great thing for people. Using solar power, being self-sufficient is great because you don't have to count on oil and gas companies. That's really amazing. As for climate change, Delaware was the first state to address gender ideology. And I believe this stuff. That's really where I draw the line. And I think that when the Fed bases a lot of their decisions on that, since their job is to control the economy, looking at numbers instead of these woke ideology nonsense issues hurts what they're really trying to do and makes them look, silly, and that a lot of people lose faith in them. And I think this is a big reason why most people don't take Jerome Powell. I believe he is on his house outside the door. A lot of political pressure is going to be put on him soon. And I guess Donald Trump is one of the main people who support that, along with his rates. He's making this very clean. It is possible for me to believe that getting rid of the Federal Reserve will happen this year. We have to ask ourselves what should happen if the Fed is no longer around. We are going to talk about that in a little more detail in a moment. I think it's going to be pretty cool. As we talk about the economy again, Jerome Powell did say a few different things. He says, we don't want to wait for 2% inflation to lower interest rates. Maybe this is an important thing to think about. First, I want to say that a lot of the information that comes from the Federal Reserve is false. And it's always changed after a few months. No matter what they say, it's not exactly what, without a question, it is when you look at the real inflation rates instead of what they are reporting. Even so, Jerome Powell's words make it very clear what he plans to do in the future, and what he does will have a big impact on when the moneymaker starts up again and interest rates go down. In the end, though, he says we don't need to wait for 2% inflation to lower interest rates. That is really important. in essence, what he's saying is that, if inflation is 2% or 4%, he's going to cut the cost of interest. He is going to lower interest rates if we are at 2.2%. So looking at the numbers he's giving us is going to be very important because they will give us a better idea of what he plans to do soon. Cutting interest rates or turning on the moneymaker will be a great thing for crypto because no one wants an asset that loses value due to hyperinflation. And people want something that lets them keep their money. XRP is the way. From my point of view, HBAR is the way. There are also some big trends that can be seen in the United States, broken down by country. Number one, a lawmaker from Illinois is proposing a bill to set up a Bitcoin strategic reserve. This bill also has details about a crypto reserve that isn't Bitcoin. An equal matter with Lieutenant Governor of Texas, Dan Patrick. He also talked about every other plan to set up a Bitcoin reserve in Texas. This is where you can see these files from Dan Patrick. Also, this is really cool. I think we should be focusing on this right now and letting all of your senators and congressmen know that you want this to happen because they are going to represent you and make sure it does happen because it's in everyone's best interest for that to happen. A lot of people in the US now have at least one type of cryptocurrency. So I guess a Bitcoin reserve and a strategic crypto reserve will do a lot to make XRP a popular currency. Now that I've said that, I want to give you some correct information, mostly about Ripple and XRP. You can see that the Wall Street Journal is now writing about the RLUSD, huge website dedicated to Ripple USD. This is really cool. In the last 3 to 4 months, a huge number of new people have joined the XRP troops. And I think this is most likely to go up with a number of different things. I think it's pretty cool for older people to see how this technology is being used in ads. Second, of course, ETFs. That will be big to get a lot of people who haven't been given an XRP worry yet. And this is the first step toward something almost perfect. In light of all of that, some good news is that the SEC is going to start its own crypto mission, pressure focused solely on cryptocurrencies, providing that framework. This was talked about on Bloomberg Crypto Today, and they gave more details about what this is,